Oh, I just got it on for that.
I got it for... What's up, Matt?
Hey, how are you?
I'm pretty good. We're in the shade.
Yeah,
Hot as-
finally.
Hot as heck
Yeah,
out here today.
It's probably already 28 degrees, I would think.
Yeah.
It's what, 9:30?
I don't know.
10 to
9:49.
10? Yep.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Good day.
It's just
So, I feel like I had a really good idea for a video, and it's totally flown the coop. It must have been good. So I think, in lack of what I planned to talk about, I wanted to chat with Matt here today a little bit about filming, because Matt is a stills king.
well, king, I wouldn't go that far, but stills oriented.
Something he loves, and Matt is my mentor. Taught me all the bad things I know. All the mistakes are mostly his fault.
Yep.
Got me into photography, got me into Fuji.
Yeah, I don't even know how that happened.
Then I left.
I think it was more landscape based starting, right?
I think it was
Or
landscapes.
backcountry trips.
Yeah, went on some canoe trips,
Right.
bored,
Okay.
you know. There's only so much reminiscing you can do, and
Yeah.
but Matt used to think I'm crazy because I'd send him links to tripods, and I'd buy a mat box, and I'd buy a fluid head.
What is this all for?
He's like, this is all stupid. You're overblowing.
You don't need
it.
any of this.
And then a couple months ago, I loaned Matt an old gimbal that I bought and didn't use. He was right. I had next to no use for it.
Yeah, we're using it right now.
And then actually we're using it on the same tripod. And one day you took it and set it up, and you filmed, or you photographed, I think, some ultra low shutter speeds,
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
and you liked it.
Like down to 110.
And you were like, oh, it's not so bad. And I think
Yeah.
maybe you did a bit of video.
I did, yeah, with the Eastern Towies.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
It was raining a bit, so I busted it out and switched it to the little cinematic symbol and
The movie
and
camera?
Yeah, that's it. And I'm pretty sure my shutter speed was
The
incorrect.
Fuji gave you a warning. It's like, are you sure?
Yeah.
You've never used this
Yeah.
setting before.
Yeah. And I had no idea about frame rates and what should
Right.
be matching, so I don't even know what it looked like, but it kind of showed me that where a still can take one situation or one type of behavior and showcase it, there's so much more. There's almost like kind of a routine that they do. So
Yeah.
you can show much more with that. So I
Well-
do see a need for it.
And suddenly, all of a sudden, our little grumpy porch stills master is doing as much or more video recently, using gimbals, fluid heads.
I don't own.
everything.
Everything I have other than this busted tripod here, Mike's either lent me or,
Well, and that's kind of what I
Doing
want
this.
to talk to you about today, because I mean, we're filming on different equipment, but actually the last few times we filmed, even though I think I've done more research into it, you've been getting predictably a lot of better results. And I think it comes down to, even this morning we're shooting, and I'm shooting, and one of the issues with gear is I often go out with too much gear, or gear I haven't tested. So this morning I'm testing a new tripod, and Matt's already on the loons filming as I'm like, how do I get the legs in position? And
that trusty XT2.
well, so then all of a sudden I
Camera to
finally start
century.
filming, and I look, I said, where's Matt? And he says, oh, I'm moving. We'll see how the sunlight's hitting there, and there's pink in the water. And he says, I'm like getting a nice shot while you're like working on a frame rate.
I wasn't sure what you were doing,
All
but
right.
I was chasing the light. Yeah.
So then I
Yeah.
chased you,
But
and I
that's
think
the
we both got
stills
results.
part of me. Yeah.
Yeah, but what's interesting is you can get really good results from video with gear you might not think. And I would
Almost any
argue that
camera.
all of these cameras now, for the past, what, 10-ish years, 7, 8 years,
8 to 10 years, yeah.
I mean, you've got good video options, and a lot of people don't shoot it because it seems intimidating. It seems like it's not your thing.
Right.
You don't know what you're doing. So I'm going to, and I'm sure you'll help with lots of these, do videos on as we learn, as we miss. I've got some cool misses today. Loons in flight. Saw our first.
There was lots going on today.
There's a
lots
lot,
of action.
yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of actual action and behavior.
I was frazzled.
And
And it got windy too, so as soon as you see something,
Yeah.
you're like framed and you hit a breeze and the boat's shifting.
Yeah,
I don't necessarily.
take the bow and kind of push it and get you off. And once you're not like positioned
Yeah.
forward on that, it's a lot harder to predict your horizontal
Yeah.
lines. Where your
It's kind of
focus
like
is.
duck hunt, but worse. You know, you got the boat's moving, your tripod head's moving,
Yeah.
and the bird's moving, and you're just trying to like,
It's almost like trying to
use the
drunk
force,
photo.
Luke. Try to like line it up
Yeah.
and drop your torpedoes.
Doesn't it feel drunk at times though?
Oh yeah,
A little discombobulated.
oh yeah,
But
yeah. It can
there's
be.
there's a lot going against you. This is for starting video recently. This is probably not the easiest thing to do.
You
but
maybe
I
don't
have,
do kayak video.
I have a lot of experience in a kayak and
Yes.
stills to begin with, so
Yes.
maneuvering the boat, positioning myself comes a long way with the previous history. It's
Now-
not something I jump right into. I'd stick to land, I think.
Well, and it's interesting because I think before you got into video, I did notice you using a tripod and gimbal for stills in the kayak, I believe.
Low light.
Yeah.
Yeah, blue hour just before the sun cracks the horizon.
Yeah.
I can do 1/30th or 1/60th, but if you want to get down to like even that quarter of a second, that can give you something dramatic in the little ripples in the water, you know. So I just figured, why take the same photo all the time? Let's just put a little art on it. You know what I mean? Just a little bit. Just not going crazy, but just try something.
I'll
a
go
little
crazy.
different. Yeah, I'll leave that to Mike.
But it makes sense, and I think it's the logical step. I mean, I'm a big believer. If you want to get into video, it's the most important piece of gear you can buy. Just buy a tripod. I mean, Matt's tripod leg here is like winking at us that it might just fall off, and it's still fine. Handheld footage, IBIS. If you're shooting ultra slow-mo, you can get away with handheld sometimes. If you're pretty stable and if you can predict the subject, especially if you stabilize in post-production a little. But still, I mean, if you can get on a tripod, it's really good. I highly recommend, I keep yelling at Matt to watch it. If you want to get into video and you're interested even in stills, go on Netflix, Our Planet, really cool kind of planet Earth documentary. You might have seen it, but you might not have seen they did a bunch of behind the scenes episodes about how they film it. And it gave me a lot of peace of mind watching these huge pros with huge experience, amazing gear, unlimited budgets, blow it. Like, they were filming tigers in the orangutans in the jungle. And the director asked the cameraman, how many times do you set up the rig trying to get a shot versus hit record? And he said he had a 25-to-1 ratio. So even this morning, at one point Matt told me to calm down because I was getting mad, I was getting flustered, there was wind. I wasn't freaking out, I wasn't that.
Seems like everything was against you.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, I just come out with a new tripod that's supposed to be more stable, and I'm blowing it, and I'm getting a little flustered. And Matt said, just chill. He's like, this is not easy. You're gonna blow it. Professional camera crews would still come out here and blow a bunch of shots.
And it wasn't the new tripod. It was the conditions. There was a bit of like a surface
and setting
breeze.
things up. Yeah. It's not about the shots you blow. It's about the shots you eventually get.
Yes.
And I think I'm like, did I blow 25-to-1 today? Maybe. But it sounds like that's actually not a bad ratio.
No, it's not.
You know?
No, it's not. Absolutely.
Because you guys don't want to watch 45-minute videos. So if you want,
might here.
this one might be. If you want like 4 or 5 minutes of nice footage, you're gonna have to shoot hours to cut down to like it, right?
Yeah.
So what else did we learn today? What did you do different today? F-log. Log
I still have no idea what it means.
Well, what did we learn? We talked about it.
Well, okay, it basically, like, I don't know if you said it right, like it desaturates everything, sort of, kind of flattens everything.
Flattens everything.
So it flattens everything.
Your
It's
exposure,
desaturation.
color.
Right. Then you can, in programs, bring that all back, and it gives you more of leeway, more range to work with the files.
Yeah,
when
in
it comes to
video some cameras can shoot raw, mostly like pro grade cameras.
Right.
So log footage is like baby raw, I guess. It's in between. It's not shooting like a film sim. This is, again, we don't know. We're not preaching to be experts.
We're just above beginner. We feel like we can help.
If you think you know more than us, you probably do. If you think you know less than us, then we're trying to talk to you.
Where you need to be.
Yeah. But log footage, again, seems scary because you shoot it and it looks really bad. And again, I'll have videos soon on how to, DaVinci Resolve is what I recommend because it's free and it's really good.
As well. Yeah.
Free is great, right?
Free.
But literally 1 or 2 clicks and you can take your flat footage and then bring it back to a nice color profile. It's really simple, but it gives you a lot more flexibility. One thing I've learned super important in video, probably also in stills, is underexpose your highlights. Because you can't recover highlights, but even junky cameras have some shadow flexibility for the most part, it seems, right?
Is an X-T2 junk?
I don't know.
Don't ask Alex.
Well, we haven't tried to recover your shadows yet, right?
That's true. That's true.
So we'll see.
That's true.
But I think like today was a hit. Like we got some cool stuff.
Yeah.
We got some good
behavior like stuff of each individual species that we saw. Like the pigeons swimming.
Yeah,
a bunch of pigeons just dove down
right
into
beside
the water.
The boat. Matt's yelling, "Get it!" And I'm saying, "I can't. They're too close."
Yeah, it's almost like they were like souping up water.
Yeah, I thought they were having a drink and then maybe a bath.
I think they were kind of sitting out with their wings out, and then they took off, and then they go under their bridge. So I'm assuming it's to stay cool.
Yeah.
It's gonna be 40 degrees Celsius today. So.
Pretty toasty.
Yeah, so that was cool to see. Baby loon diving.
Yeah.
We saw 3 or 4 times where they were feeding.
Yeah, we got food transitions.
the eagle.
Got some nice osprey footage perched. Saw the
Yeah.
osprey hunt, and then we finally saw her dive for
Yeah.
food, which was the other side of the lake,
Yeah,
and I
just
blew
too
it.
far.
You want to see the blow? It's probably here.
We should
We'll
do a
cut
video
it.
of just all the blows.
All the totally.
That'll be after this.
Yeah.
Just
Because-
to show you how beginner we really are.
Yeah. Well, what else did I blow? So we first bald eagle of the year for me. Finally, there's usually an eagle nest on this lake.
Yeah.
Usually this lake is a guarantee for eagles. This year it's just been a kick in the pants.
They've been
So-
around, but they didn't nest. They were unsuccessful, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Well, so today I turn and I say, "What's that black bird in the tree?" And Matt says, "That's the eagle." And I thought he was joking, but he wasn't. He said, "No, actually, well, from this distance, it probably is. It looks big enough. That's a tree it likes." So we get close, and Matt decided he'd skirt around, knowing it would probably fly when we got close enough. So he said, "You get on the eagle, get framed up, and then eventually, if I get close enough and it flies, you'll catch it." And it was going well. I got some footage. See if we pop the footage here. Things are going okay. And then I saw there was like a flock of starlings or something
Yeah.
the next tree over.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's kind of funny. Those starlings seem to be playing it brave, although I guess eagles are big lazy. Probably not going to go pluck a starling out of a tree. But I thought it'd be some nice narrative storytelling. So I filmed the starlings, and then I go back to the eagle. And he was gone.
Gone. Yeah,
So-
the footage just like pans back, and it's
There's no eagle. So I'm expecting to get like this nice takeoff. But then,
which I did.
oh, you did?
I did.
Okay, well then here's Matt's nice takeoff.
He's going the wrong way. You were in the right position because he goes away from me rather than out the side for you.
Right,
But
right.
I did get it.
But then I saw something, and I think you yelled, and I saw this blackbird. I wasn't sure what it was.
Yeah,
And I
so
frame
the-
up on it, and then there's my eagle.
The
So
second eagle. Coming from
Second
the,
eagle,
Yeah, from
yep.
the back bay. It was coming.
yeah,
Probably watched the other one fly off.
yeah,
Obviously went together.
yeah. So it was. We got some cool stuff today.
Those eagles seem to be there, perched like when the sun comes up. As soon as the
Right.
sun's up, I thought it was maybe a hunting area.
Yeah,
No, I think it's like a morning thing.
Huh.
And then they just go wherever they go.
that's funny.
Again, not an expert.
Yeah, we don't know.
An expert.
I don't even know if the camera's recording. I think so.
I hope you keep that in.
Yeah.
If it is recording.
Right.
But overall, yeah, I think
What's your message to people who don't shoot video but might have a little inkling, as someone who recently made the transition?
there's a point in time in the morning, or if you go out in the afternoon and it's too soon, where stills are not going to cut it. It's too harsh. You can be a harsh shooter. You can shoot the harsh light. You can make some really nice artistic stuff with it. But on a regular basis, you're just not going to have that approach. So my opinion would be, try some video in that time. Stop down.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? You can get a lot of different behaviors. If it's really hot out, bathing, those aren't going to translate to really good stills. And I truly believe that if you want to go to that next step, try some video and capture some behavior.
Yep.
That's the
Drop
biggest
your
thing.
aperture, or we're getting down to f20 or whatever.
Yeah, I try to keep it, f18, f16 if I can.
22, baby, all the way.
So with stills, if you said 22 or 32 or something to me, I'd go crazy.
We don't have 32.
I know. Well, we don't have
I'd go
those
lower.
quality
22 is my
lenses.
limit.
Yeah.
The thing about video too is that like it can be a little imperfect because you're not pixel peeping,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So yes, perfect light,
Which I'm not
perfect
anyway,
sharpness,
but-
perfect composition are the goal.
Yeah.
But if you just get acceptably sharp, not blown highlight, stable footage of interesting behavior, that's still a win. That's still
gonna be
something
better
that
than the
like
stills.
yeah, that's still something
Yeah.
that like you're probably going to want to watch and other people are going to want to
Yeah.
watch. And I think that's what separates acceptable to good to great
Right.
footage. Great
Right.
footage is going to be perfectly lit, really cool behavior. But totally, if you're shooting 10:30 in the morning in the middle of the summer here, the light is so bad that no photo is going to even be
Unless it's
remotely,
like-
unless you're dappled light in the forest. But if you're a bird out on a branch in the sun, it's not going to be usable
No,
at all.
no, not my opinion. I usually go home at that point.
Yeah.
Just sometimes if I have a little extra time, it allows me to stay out and be a little more creative.
Mhm.
And then you got to figure out what to do with it all.
Yeah.
And that's where Mike's new videos coming up.
Well,
Come
we'll
into
see.
play.
But it's cool. It's fun. I mean, video's overwhelming. It's a lot of work.
Lot of storage
There's a
at
lot to
times.
do. Takes up storage. Takes up more time to go through it and then edit it.
Yeah.
But it's not as hard as people think.
No,
it's
it
just
seems
like,
overwhelming, and then
Yeah.
you start to do it, and it gets easier like everything. Stills
Yeah.
were overwhelming at one time, I'm sure.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
try it out. If Mike can make a believer out of me, yeah.
If
do it-
Mike
do it.
can make a sharp video,
I wasn't even gonna go that
yeah,
far, but
I don't know if I have yet.
we'll find out.
Last
We'll
point
post
too.
some-
Use manual focus most of the
Oh
time.
yeah, that's a good point.
Even good cam, the new Fuji X-H2S.
He's running the H2S in manual focus. I'm running the XT2 because it's just not reliable in general in tracking. But I think regardless where you're shooting manual focus, if you have some sort of focus peaking, or if you have a monitor to use like Mike does, that's what's going to get you the quality that you want.
Yeah.
You don't want it pulsating and breathing.
Yeah, I mean there were
pulsating.
things I shot today even so. Okay, we'll show you the miss here. So I probably showed you the bald eagle in flight earlier, and I probably just cut the sharp points. But here is when it starts to pulse, and I mean this was decent light, no obstruction in the background, and we're still drifting.
Yeah.
Now I don't know, would an A1 drift? Would an R5 drift? I mean the R5 did when I had it. It wasn't great. It's at video subject, so maybe the A1 or something is better at that. But still, I mean, everything I read for pro wildlife videography seems to say manual. And I think right now the only thing I would trust autofocus on is maybe flight, just because it's so hard. The woodpecker on that tree. It's so hard
Oh, not
to.
that.
Oh, it's not a woodpecker.
White breasted.
There you go. It's just so difficult to track a bird in flight, stay stable, and manually focus,
Yeah.
depending on where the bird's going. So sometimes I might let the autofocus do its thing and just accept it's gonna bomb, and I'll just cut
You're
the bad
able to.
parts. Yeah.
You're able to. I should put some XT2 autofocus in here.
Just a shape.
You guys will feel drunk.
Well,
It's just, you know what I mean? It's quite the camera.
What?
When it doesn't get focused.
oh, I
It's
thought you
so
meant the
slow,
XH2S.
like to go. No, the XT2 it goes past it.
Well,
and then it
that's
goes back to it and it hits it and it's like nope.
But that's one of the things with an old camera. Like it's like XT2 autofocus is an Achilles heel. You're doing video and manual focus, you've eliminated that. So
Yeah.
the XT2 doesn't have a terrible sensor,
Right.
so it can do some nice 4K
Yeah.
30 frames per second footage
Yep.
if you expose properly and you manually focus.
Yep.
So and while that may sound archaic, that's how most people with most cameras are doing it, right?
Right.
If you could be shooting a $100,000 Canon 50 to 1000 millimeter cinema lens on like a red camera, manual focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
whole way. Yeah.
I mean, it's probably a lot more precise,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's still the same concept.
Big old ring.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
you know, we don't know. But anyway, I don't even know, like I said, if it's still recording. We might have filled the card. But if you've got anything, share it with us. And
Yeah.
we're going to keep pushing Matt to get his channel
I'm
up and
with
running.
you on this journey.
Yeah.
Just think of it that way.
We're all on the journey.
Yeah, he's slightly ahead of us. But
Every journey needs someone loud who thinks they know what's happening.
that's right.
And
why I
then,
hang out with Mike.
and then someone who might know what's happening, who you know keeps you out of the ditch.
There
so
you go. We yin and yang.
we got you. We got you guys. Thanks for
All right.
following and watching, and I hope this recorded.
My ass was going numb.